We're working really hard, and we're a very young team. We are continuing every day to try to move the group forward, and we're continuing to challenge them as we always do as a part of our culture to get better every day, to give us the best chance possible to every year do better than the year before. And that's part of how we've been building this program day by day. We gave them a huge challenge at the beginning of this year. So 2 split weekends, very rare in soccer to play split weekends because it's a fitness-based sport. So since it's a fitness-based sport, when you play Friday, Sunday is always going to be a very difficult game. And we're going to play Wake Forest, who is a top 15 team, and they're going to be a lot higher than that at the end of the year, I'll tell you. I know their roster very well. I know Tony is a great coach, and so I wanted to start there right away and challenge us. Then we're going to ride a bus home and play Sunday against a great Utah team, and that's a challenge. But if we're going to achieve in the SEC tournament, if we're going to achieve in the NCAA tournament, we've got to find out from the beginning what our strengths and weaknesses are. And this is the way that we do that. And I believe the players play here they come here to want to play a great schedule. And so what a great way to start.
You feel like with the success that the program's had specifically last year that you want to continue to challenge the team and the non-conference schedule specifically?
Absolutely. Every single year we want to. And, one of the interesting things is every year is different, and I look at other sports and obviously the easiest one to look at every year is basketball, and men's basketball here, and how you very quickly see that there's a different identity. It's not just different players, it's a different identity. And last year, that identity was very clear from the beginning. Early in the year, we put 2 seniors at center back. We knew that they were going to command the team. And even though we only lost those 2 starters, it's a very new identity this year. And we're still working on that. And we've got to challenge them to find out where we are. I know that we're going to be very tough at the back, obviously with Kayla in the net and with Aaron as playing center back. And I think we're going to be extremely strong there. What we're finding out in his training is how are we going to score goals. Last year, as the year went on, we moved Aaron up top because I said, okay, we're going to score goals and we're going to put Aaron up top. And she responded very positively. And we got some very tough 1-0 wins with Kayla getting shutouts and Aaron scoring goals. And I don't want to do that this year. I want to be able to have an identity, keep it that way, and not have to move players the entire time in order to find answers. So that's going to be up to a lot of our young players, and the only way to find that out is to challenge them.
Freshman PJ Dog AD last season, especially in substitution roles. As you were saying, it seemed like dynamic this season.
In terms of freshmen playing a lot? If it's earned on the field. I think, there are some changes day to day. I mean, there is no doubt that there are numerous freshmen right now that will have very important roles, whether they're starting or playing quite a bit. But we also know that with freshmen, sometimes you don't know from day to day what you're going to get. Right now, we're pretty predictable, but when school starts and it's their first time being in college, and then we get to midterms and things like that, we have to find out a lot of times where they are. And because of that, one of the things I talked to training today was we need to do a better job of building up our second tier. So if you might say we have a first 14 to 15 that are clearly going to be playing every game, our next 10 have to be pushed to get better. We have to be better in training, and our young players understand the demands that are putting on them every day, whether they're our first player scoring goals or they're our 26th player training. And I think that's the challenge where we are right now with our young players.
Can we assume you have more than a gut feeling that you've got at least the tools to get that scoring this season?
I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be talented up top, but attitude is a big part of that. And one of the things I did today in training is I stopped them and I said, "What position are you playing?" And we had a young player say forward, and I said, "No, you're not. You're playing backward." Because every time she got the ball, all she wanted to do was lay it off, lay it off, lay it off. And I said, okay, so you can lay it off to a midfielder who's wide open, and that works, but it sure isn't aggressive. I want aggressive players with attitude. I want forwards, not backwards up top. So there's a big difference between technical ability and tactical ability and attitude. And I think right now our biggest challenge up top is who's going to have the attitude and the chip on their shoulder to score goals. And that comes through hard work.
Aaron, can you talk about after last year, after the win against the tournament and high expectations, the bar raised even more this year, and you guys feel that pressure? Maybe it's motivation.
I wouldn't say it's pressure. It's definitely motivation. Every year that you step out on the field at a university, you want to be better than the year before. So when we bring the freshmen in, we bring the newcomers in, we set a standard for them, and the standard this year is to get farther than we were last year. So it's definitely motivation, and I think that's what's going to push us through our games. In this first game against Wake Forest, it's going to decide our season. It's really going to give us the extra push we need to see where we're going to stand when SEC hits.
Last year was kind of a transitional in terms of style of play, moving more possession-based approach, particularly with a player as skilled as Aaron is. Do you feel like you're going to be further along in that process?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the big moves that, things are going to become obvious. I don't mind saying who's playing where. I don't believe in those secrets. But we actually, in the last week, have moved Stuart Pope back to left back. Stu is a player who has always had unbelievable potential, and has completely changed herself physically with her fitness and her quickness, and has really been technically and in terms of how dangerous she is on the field. She's been our best attacking player this entire preseason, and we just moved her to left back. So I think that says something about our attitude to keep the ball out of the back, to move the ball. We're working a lot to get into more of an attacking shape faster in the back, and again, one of the joys of playing Wake Forest right away is they are known for what a great possession team they are, and that's exactly the game that we want to play. I'm not a coach who believes that there's only one style that's right, and so a team that's ridiculously direct, they are wrong. But that doesn't mean we have to play that way. We have to play who we are, and it's going to be about possession first and foremost.
Okay, what's it been like to be part of this program as this kind of surge and made the NCAA tournament the last couple of years?
Unbelievable. It's been so fantastic. And the senior class and I have been talking about this, and Gilly and them, to have been John's first recruiting class and to watch him build this program, not around us, but with us, has just been a phenomenal opportunity. I think my freshman year, we were so excited to make the SEC tournament, and that was our goal. And we just that's all we had known. And then to be here as a senior and wanting to go farther in the NCAA tournament, to win games in the SEC tournament it's electric.
You talked about the youth movement and the struggle maybe scoring early on. Being the coach in there, have you noticed that? Are you seeing that on the field?
I think in practice, there's a lot of information being given to our forwards, and they're young. And they don't know what they're doing yet. And so for them to be on the training field at a D1 university, learning a new system, and to get all this information is hard for them to just compartmentalize and go and get it. I think they have the potential to absorb it and to do really well for us this year. I think right now they're just learning the process.
What are some of the things you can do as a senior to kind of help those newcomers figure out all the important things they have to do?
Just kind of come alongside them and just say, hey, how's it going today? And at the same time that I'm coming around them and being like, if you got any questions, let me know. If you need help, come to me. Keep them accountable, because John has stressed details, as he always does, but especially in the past few practices. And I know if they don't listen to those details, or if they don't do what he says, it's also my job to say, hey, you need to step it up. You need to do what John's telling you.
Can you speak to your own personal evolution from the past 4 years or so?
Wow, that's a great question. Unbelievably transformative, I think, would probably be a very understated way to talk about my evolution. I came in as a freshman, fairly unknown, completely different than who I am today. Different attitude, different ideas, different way of thinking about soccer and about goalkeeping especially. And it was just it was a decision that had to be made. So my freshman and sophomore year, I was very different than who I am today. And
Stubborn. I'm sorry, I had
stubborn.
something in my chest. I apologize.
Very stubborn, very, yeah, it's true. Very unwilling to compromise, or not compromise, it's never compromise. Very unwilling to do what the coaches were telling me to do and what they expected of me as far as fitness and nutrition and what they were asking me to do on the field, if that's fair.
Yeah.
And then it just, I guess the end of my sophomore year, it was just a decision to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do what the coach is asking me. I was tremendously unfit. And that was everything, every coach's meeting that John and I had and the sporting staff was, you need to get fit. You know, you need to eat right, you need to get fit, you need to take care of your body. And I just said, you know what? Okay. And it's just amazing. You know, you break down and you say, it's not about me. It's about what the coaches want, and it's about what the team wants, and it's about what's best for the team. And that was my attitude, and still is. Because if I'm fit, if I am able to do the best that I can do, you know, whether I play, you know, whether I was going to start, whether any of that, in training, I have that ability to make the forwards better, make the midfielders better, make the defense better. But it started with me. And didn't happen overnight. And to be honest, my sophomore year, I was probably not proud of who I was, looking back on that. But it was a time that I needed to grow and to just get over myself as a very young and mature person and come through it. So the beginning of my junior year, passing the fitness test, coming in ready, helped me build my confidence to be able to hold people accountable and to coach, or not coach, but, you know, coach the younger players around me, because I could say, hey, you know what, I'm fit. You know, I've done everything the coaches ever asked me to. I may never play, but that still does not preclude me from working as hard as I possibly can and bringing it every day in practice. And because I've been able to do that, because that's who I was, I can now, you know, keep you accountable for it. And, you know, if you come to me like, wow, that fitness test was so hard, really? And in soccer, the stereotype is goalkeepers aren't fit, or it's not. It's a different level of fitness. It's, you know, they shouldn't be able to do what the Erin Gilliland's do. And don't get me wrong, I'll never beat her ever in a foot race. But there is
Put a jetpack on your back.
even then. But there's a baseline of fitness that I can hold myself accountable for. So, you know, we can pass the same fitness test. She still might be faster than me, but I've done the work in the summer, in the spring, to come in preseason ready to come. And so I guess that's been my transformation. He was talking about it at practice today, but it was a process. It was a long process, and a lot of it, I had some, you know, I had some support. My family helped me, and, you know, the coaches were always there to keep me accountable. But in the end, it was me, it was mental, and it was doing the work and eating right and running every day when all I wanted to do was lay on the couch.
Speaking of doing work, Kayla, what was your summer like?
Really hard. Really hard. And so actually it's fantastic, and I loved it. What UK Strength and Conditioning does is in the 8-week session for June and July, they have 6 a.m. workouts with our strength and conditioning coaches and our staffs, and it's all the female athletes. And it's awesome. It's who's ever in the summer. They're not mandatory because of NCAA rules, but it was just optional. You can come. You kind of need to tell your coach, your strength coach, you know, if you're coming for numbers and stuff. But, you know, every morning, we'd be 5:45, we'd be over at Shiley, and they'd be asking about hours of sleep. They'd be making sure we were eating, and they would, you know, put us through stretches, and then we'd go work out. And Coach Metzger led most of ours. Coach Spurlock ran the whole thing. He replaced Coach Trace, and he did a fantastic job. And Coach Metzger specialized in women's soccer, and so she, you know, watched what we lifted, you know, watched our fitness, and really what she would do is we would do the workout that all the other the female student athletes would do, and then we would do more because we're soccer, and because it's a fitness-based sport, and what is good enough for the other female student athletes isn't good enough for us, because we just have to be, you know, 90 minutes all out. And so she would make sure that we would do that, whether it was more sprints or an extra fitness test or a bike workout. which were great. But they did the job, and she took care of us. And what I would usually do is, so that was at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd go about my day, class or research or whatever it was I was doing, and then in the afternoon I would go take a run. John he did a lot of research, and he's noticed that if you just throw in longer runs, 4 or 5 miles, occasionally 8s, it builds a bigger base for your fitness, and it allows you to, and it's not a fast sprint or fast run. It's just a run. Get you out, get your legs moving, keep up a pace, but just do the distance. And so that's what I would do almost every day. There were some days when my legs were really sore and my body just couldn't do it, but most every day I'd go out and run.
John, I noticed that Kayla referred to you as John, as Coach Metzger. I'm wondering is that a tone you're trying to set with your players or your program, or is that a female sport thing? What is that about?
It's about my relationship with them. I was saying something to them walking off the field today about how interesting and special it was for me to be, walking between the two of them and coming over here with the two of them. So, what different paths we have. We have Aaron, who has always been an extremely special player that when we were recruiting her, we said, you're going to be on the national team. We knew it was coming. Who, was training with a professional team this summer, out in Portland, who has been a starter on the U20 and U23 national team. And so her career from the beginning was about learning the details to play at an international level and pushing her to learn that. And then we have Kayla, who at the beginning it was sitting in the office like this going, okay, I don't want to show her how ridiculous it is what she's saying, but inside I know how ridiculous it is. But if it clicks, this is going to be special. And now here they both are, both leaders, captains, and incredibly special. And how can you go through that journey, as different as they were, and now we're all here together? How can you go through this journey and not love one another? And I don't have a problem with Coach. I don't have a problem with anybody that's called Coach, but if they come into the office and they need something from me, I'm John. And so why wouldn't I be that all the time? And for me personally, respect is earned and it's given, and it's not from a name. And I'm John, and I will be when 10 years from now, when they go on with their lives, and I hope to be a part of it, and I always will be. So it's a very astute question, and it's who we are. And every once in a while I joke around if someone calls me coach and I go, player? And I will tell you personally, not right or wrong, it even bothers me in the department when I'm walking down the hall and someone says, coach, as if, well, they're just in blank department and I'm the coach up here. No, we're all in this together. We're a family, and this whole department is a family, and Mitch has done just such an amazing job of doing that. And I want to be John, and I don't care if, I don't care what job you are. No one's better or worse, and no one is too good for a job, and that's how I want it to be on this team and in this department.
Did you call your coaches when you were a player coach, or did you call them by names?
It really depends, actually. I had both. And I will tell you, when I started my coaching career, and especially when I first went to Charlotte, I was coach. I was assistant coach at Ohio State, I was John. And then I went to Charlotte and I was a head coach, and I was coach. And there's still players there. I'll get texts from them, 8 years later, coach. And I've thought about that a lot, why? And I think I was establishing part of who I was, and I wanted it known that I was coming in and I was laying down the law and setting up my program, and I don't feel the need to do that anymore. And I don't want them to feel that that's how it is. I'm standing in front of them sharing things with them and asking them what to do and telling them what to do that I believe will help us win this game. I think that's enough.
Aaron, can you talk about your summer with the national team and what that was like for you, and how that helped you play?
Well, my summer consisted of two very different things. For me, I have to have my kind of off time from soccer because I'm going so much. It's like constantly on my mind. Like that's what I want to do with my future. So I have to have like my break, and my break every year is Hawaii. And I go to Maui. My family owns a house there. My aunt does, and so she lets me stay. And I go for a month. I surf. I, go exploring, hiking.
Eat chocolate-covered bacon.
Eat chocolate-covered bacon. Like I do anything for a month, and that's my time to get away, to refocus my mind, and so I don't burn out. Because a lot of players, you see, they burn out once they get to this level and they can't keep going, and I don't want that to happen. So that's why I take that time for me. But after June was done, I went to Portland, and I was in Portland training with the Portland Thorns. And for those of you that don't know, Alex Morgan's on that team, Tobin Heath, Rachel Bueller, all of them, and Christine Sinclair. And it was just my very first practice. I got out there and I was like, oh my gosh, I've definitely not been playing soccer for a month. And to be playing at that level, their touch is perfect there. Shots perfectly curved, upper 90, and I was just, baffled by what they could do and how much they practice, how much time after practice they spend shooting. And you don't see that at this level. So to see all the different things they do, how they take care of their body, what's stocked in their fridge compared to the Cokes that's stocked in my fridge, and it's just a completely different lifestyle than even collegiate. And I think I needed to see that and see what I needed to change. And also technically, I'm not the most technically sound player, and my athleticism makes up for a lot of that. So for me to go out there and see what I really needed to work on technically to be at that level really helped me, and it's helping me to bring it back to my team, to make my team better and to get them to that level. So that's how my summer spent. It's pretty good.